Welcome everyone to another ZoomInfo Community Expert Exchange. It's a deep dive into intent data for sales. Really excited about this one. And a lot of you guys seems like you're really excited too. So a lot of interest anyways. Today we have a special guest and the expert, Danny Wilson. He's a solution consultant here at ZoomInfo. Danny, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you all for joining.
Next slide. So a couple of ground rules for the group, right? So if you haven't, and I'm going to put this in the chat here shortly, please join the Modern Go-to-Market Slack community. So that's right there in the chat. Join that if you haven't. And then your questions, we're hoping that you will ask them in the ZI Product Copilot channel. This way we have experts to answer some of those questions and we can capture those questions on the community today and get those answers for you. If we don't get to all the questions as in answering those questions today, Danny promises to go in there later today and tomorrow to get some of those answers for you. I'll push the Slack invite here again. So we are recording this and the slides will be sent over probably tomorrow by the end of the day. My hope is earlier, but we'll see. And so, and I'll push that out to you through email and on our Modern Go-to-Market Slack community. So coming next week, if you haven't signed up, and I'll put that into the chat as well, to our community exchange or expert exchange, leveraging signal, behavior, and Copilot, and understanding who is in the market and why. So we'll have Sue Killian doing that as the expert. So really excited about that one as well. And then that's it for me. That's all the announcements.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Welcome again, all once again. Today we are going to speak about ZoomInfo's intent. And the end goal of the session is to understand what intent is and how you could leverage intent to elevate your business. Quick safe harbor statement, all that you see today, please do not make any financial decisions in terms of investing on stocks. Please make your own research. So what we are going to do today is understand intent. Why intent? So whenever we have researchers in market, before making a decision, a purchasing decision, 57% of them are in market doing the research even before they reach out to a vendor. 74% of them, right? If you make the first move and you're the first person to reach out to them, 74% of the time, you are most likely to close that deal or get that deal. So it's really important for you to know who's actually in market looking for a solution like yours or a potential problem that you could solve. The main crux of intent is to help you connect early with your buyers. It would help you guide your buying process. And then you can also identify when your competitors are being identified or searched or researched. And you can also prepare yourself to talk against them. What is ZoomInfo's intent? ZoomInfo's intent is going to help you identify all those who are out there in market consuming abnormal amount of content on topics those are relevant to your business. So when I say topics relevant to your business, let's say you're selling a software and they are consuming abnormal amount of content on the internet researching about a software like yours or a potential problem that you could solve. That's what ZoomInfo is going to expose you. We, using ZoomInfo intent, would expose you those companies who are doing that research out there. And we would also give you the decision makers' contact information and help you market or reach out to them. So whenever a buyer or a decision maker is going to make a purchase, 94% of the B2B buyers, they conduct online research before making a decision. It's this research phase that we are trying to identify and expose those decision makers right in front of you. So whenever someone's doing a research, these are some of the pages that they would go to. They would be going to product reviews, wherever there are product reviews mentioned, product comparisons, message boards, blogs, case studies, articles, etc. So that's a third-party world out there. This is how ZoomInfo is going to help you identify who's out in market right now looking for a solution like yours. So with the help of ZoomInfo's intent, we need to understand how intent is going to work first. So we capture and analyze web traffic. This is happening through Bitstream and our data core. So we have sources who give us information. Apart from which, we also do it through bitstream. That is, whenever an ad is displayed on a website, in terms of, we get the IPs, and we have one of the best IP to company matches. So what we do, once we get that information or the IP information, we use NLP, natural language processing, to understand what is the topic that's mentioned on that particular article. And then we are able to extract those keywords, match them, and use that particular IP to a particular organization. And then that's how we tell you, this is the company or this is the organization that is currently looking for a topic. For example, if somebody is looking at ZoomInfo or they're researching about the topic ZoomInfo, we would be able to identify from which organization they are researching about ZoomInfo, or a B2B contact information platform, or a sales solution, or a marketing platform, etc. And once we identify that, we would deliver them in the form of a visual, which is going to be in your platform, which you can then choose to export into multiple systems like a CRM or a marketing automation platform, or also to an internal communication tool. So what are we going to achieve with the help of intent? We are going to help you reach. We have a wide reach of websites that we are able to that we are able to identify and monitor, so that we know whenever companies are visiting those websites. For example, let's take Quora. So most of the B2B researches, when it's being done there, we will be able to track and identify that information, and then we will be able to provide it to you, not just with data co-ops, but also with bitstream websites. Quality. So when we speak about quality, we will look on why we say that this is a great signal for you. What defines the quality of that intent signal? Timing. How quick can we access on that particular intent signal? We will also see why we are able to be one of the market leaders out there on intent. And then customization. How can you customize intent based on your business requirement? How can you build a business case to validate the intent that you receive? So we have a better coverage, more than 300,000 publisher domains that we are monitoring, and these traffics are globally. We have over a trillion new keywords to device pairings that we do each month. This gives you a vast coverage so that you are able to pull all that information and those signals and then target to them. Quality, we help you avoid that noise. False positives are removed with the help of our NLP, which understands the context behind the website when these researchers are conducting their research. We would look at a great example so that you can better understand on how the NLP works and how it can avoid false positives, so that you don't waste your marketing effort, marketing budget, or your sales effort behind those accounts. So on this screen, if you can see towards the left, there is a Detroit Free Press article, and let's assume ZoomInfo is the keyword or the intent topic. Whenever researchers visit this article towards the left, Detroit Free Press article, we would not expose those companies to you. Reason being, even though they have ZoomInfo as a keyword, our intent is more of a contextual based intent than a keyword based intent. Even though the keyword ZoomInfo is present on this article, is more about IPOs. Rather, towards the right, if you see here, ZoomInfo is mentioned on the article, and the article is actually about alternatives to finding new customers. This is why we are contextually able to give you that intent signal in a more accurate manner. This is why we can say we provide a better quality in terms of intent. Timing. There are multiple ways that you can get your intent. There are multiple sources you can get your intent from. ZoomInfo provides something called as streaming intent, which is telling you in real time who the actual buyers are out in the market right now. A lot can change in a week's time. ZoomInfo offers streaming intent. It helps you identify whenever there's a signal spike, whenever there is a spike in the abnormal amount of consumption. ZoomInfo would expose those companies to you, With the help of workflow, you can push them to external systems as well. With this, it leads you to speed to lead, and you will be able to reach out to them before any of your alternative competitors or before they reach out to someone. So that's the reason ZoomInfo streaming intent is really powerful. I would highly recommend you to evaluate why streaming intent is better than the normal intent. You can also do your research to identify what are the other intent providers out in the space that are able to provide a similar kind of an intent experience. In terms of customization, we have two types of intent. One is the standard topics, wherein we have more than 5,000 topics that we provide. So you can explore these topics. These are standard. All of them will be able to, all those who have access to intent will be able to use these intent topics based on their requirement. They'll be able to see the traffic. But what we offer additionally is custom intent. So when I say custom intent, the intent is going to be customized based upon topics or keywords niche to your business. And there is a lot of advantages that you will be getting on your intent, on custom intent. First thing, it's going to be niche to your business. So you define the topics that you want. For example, if Zoho is researching, or if somebody is researching about Zoho, sorry, in that case, I will be able to go ahead and identify all those who are researching on probably Zoho CRM. And let's assume I'm selling HubSpot CRM or Salesforce as a CRM. I can directly reach out to those decision makers from that company that's researching about Zoho CRM so that I will be able to get in front of them even before Zoho does. Let's say that's a niche topic to your business. In that manner, you might have topics or product offerings that are very own to your business. Your business better than us. You would give us a topic and give us a description on that particular topic, and we could create that as a custom intent topic, and only you would be getting the results. It would not be standard, so the others would not be getting that information. These are some of the advantages of custom intent over the other standard intent topics that we have. So from the 5,000 topics that you have, anyone can choose those topics, right? You're not inputting specific keywords niche to your business. You can only switch them for a limited period of time, and you will not be able to know who is looking at your competitor. But with the help of custom intent, it's more targeted. The topics are customized by yourself. Because you give us that one sentence or two sentence description for each and every custom intent, we will be able to use that context to contextualize that intent and give you the right signal. And you will also be able to change your custom intent topics based on your requirement. And these buying signals are going to be only to yourself and not to anyone else. Let's take ZoomInfo as an example, right? So in standard topics, if somebody is researching about the topic ZoomInfo, the keywords would actually be sales intelligence, sales automation, data enrichment, or lead generation. But if you are going to make custom topics, then whenever someone is looking at B2B contact database, that would be a keyword that is more niche to my business over the standard topics. ZoomInfo intent, anybody researching about ZoomInfo intent, great leads for us to reach out to. Lead enrichment tools, offerings that ZoomInfo is able to provide. We understand that if someone is looking for lead enrichment tool, which is not a part of the standard 5,000 topics that we have, we will proactively be able to reach out to them. And especially ZoomInfo's competitors. There are a lot of great players out there. So whenever someone's looking at those competitors, ZoomInfo can get in front of them. Mention them on why they should go with ZoomInfo, what value we can bring to the table, how we could assist you, what solution we can offer to solve your pain points or your problem. That being said, we would always run a viability test for all the custom intent topics that you give us, because we want to ensure that the topics that you're giving is actually viable, getting enough number of results. Is there traction for those topics? These are things that ZoomInfo is going to help you. All you have to do is give your topics to us along with description. We would run a viability test. probably over a week, and tell you on how relevant those topics are based on the number of hits or signals that we are receiving. So you can provide your competitor names, you can provide what topics are hot out there, what keywords you have mentioned on your website, and then we would do the viability and consult with you to help you understand whether the topics are working or not, or probably guide you to the direction you should potentially be thinking. Now let's jump into the platform to see how ZoomInfo's intent looks within ZoomInfo's platform. So ZoomInfo's intent can be clubbed with other signals. So when we say other signals, let's say if someone is actually researching about ZoomInfo and also researching about our market alternatives, and they also visit our website. Those are two great signals why ZoomInfo should reach out to that particular account. First signal is they are out there in the market looking for a solution like ours, looking for a potential problem that we can solve, and also they have visited our website. So combining multiple signals with the help of intent is something ZoomInfo can help you with, especially Copilot. It helps you aggregate those signals from multiple sources. What if that company which visited my webpage and researched about ZoomInfo and its alternatives, it also has funding, and let's say my decision maker has also been promoted, and then they have recently mentioned on their earnings call that they are looking to improve their sales strategy. Those signals are great signals for us to utilize. With the help of ZoomInfo's intent, you can also use external intent such as G2's intent or trust radius intent. They can help you identify, or they can also enhance the signal experience, helping you prioritize the right set of accounts. So in the next session, Sue would definitely walk you through on how the signal prioritization is taking place, but this is what intent can play with as well. Let's have a sneak peek at how the intent would look like within the platform. Inside the platform, this is where you would be defining your intent topics. For someone who's not set up a custom intent, you would see all our standard intents that you will be able to explore. So these intents would basically be under segmentation. And whenever you click on a particular segment, there would be topics under each and every segment. And like I mentioned, each topic would have a description that would then help us understand and contextualize the intent, post which we'll also give you the information on the past week, what are the number of different or unique companies that we were able to identify as in the form of intent. So these are standard intent topics. Once you select your standard intent topics and apply them, you will be able to see what are the companies that are actually consuming content on these topics mentioned here. So I've taken cybersecurity, cloud migration, IT sourcing for the sake of demo, and these are the accounts that I should be reaching out to. What I could also do is, if I'm running a marketing strategy or a sales strategy, I could use filters within the system itself, whether to include or exclude accounts that are existing in my CRM. So if I want to exclude them and I don't want to target them, then what I could do is simply exclude or include them using the filters, and then use those accounts probably in a sales cadence or an email marketing campaign. So with that being said, once we select the intent topic, when these topics are selected, we can further drill down based on the signal strength. So what I mean by a signal strength is we would look at the average baseline of consumption on a particular topic, right? And once it increases above that baseline, that is when we consider it to be an intent spike. So whenever there is an intent spike, that is when ZoomInfo would let you know that there's an intent spike. And based on the intensity of intent spike, the signal score can be adjusted. In terms of best practice, we would tell you to keep the intent score somewhere between the range 85 to 95, or accordingly, you can play around with the signals based on how vast or how broad you would like to target the accounts. But then the reason we are telling you this is because probably post 95 to 100 would be a potential chance that they would have already made their decision and then conducting the research. We also have audience strength. So these audience strength would be basically, it would be the number of individual devices or individuals or groups from an organization relative to the audience strength or to the organization's total strength. So it would tell you what are the individual devices that are actually consuming content. How strong is that signal? It's rated between 1 to 5. So the stronger the signal, the better your account is in market. You can also choose to identify if there are multiple spikes within a specified range. For example, if you take Hamilton as an example here, you will be able to see that there are two different spikes. One around the 5th and 12th of November, another around the 26th and 3rd of December. So these are two instances where multiple audiences or multiple groups from within an organization have consumed abnormal amount of content on this topic, digital transformation. And it also can help you with the recommended buying committee on who you should potentially be reaching out to. You can further drill down based on company related filters, what industry they should belong to. You can provide your industry related keywords or provide NAICS codes or SIC codes based on the headcount of the company, what financials, what revenue they should be doing, so that you can only focus on those accounts. So based on the results that you get, based on the topics, you can further streamline on who you should potentially be targeting. And then we also have location related filter, which helps you identify where the companies are located from which you're getting the intent spikes. We would also be able to help you in identifying where the signal spikes are coming from. So this location would tell you where the individual spike is coming from. So let's say Chris is in US and Danny is in India, wherein both of us are consuming content on, let's say, digital transformation, but you want to target the signal that's coming from India. So if you do that, from that equation, Chris would be eliminated, and then you can see if that particular intent spike has happened from India. And if yes, then you can try to target Danny, who's a potential decision maker from that organization. Once we have these intent set up, once we have the intent topic set up, you will also be able to identify with external sources where you can mention your G2 intent. So if you have G2 buyer intent, you can plug that in as well. Use that whether to include or exclude those G2 intent signals to give more attribution to the intent signals and more strength to the signals that you have. And we also have the normal technology related filters, wherein you can filter them based on the technologies that they are currently using. Once you set them up, you can choose to open them in advanced search to then add job titles to filter the decision makers that you should be reaching out to and push them to an external system or a cadence. So in this case, if I'm choosing these 400 companies, I can search for the contacts of these 400 companies under the advanced search and further layer them down based on job titles or departments. So let's say I'm looking director and above. This would give me more contact information. So I am able to identify 116,000 plus contacts from the companies, and the company size has reduced from 400 to 320 because I am looking at only directors and above. And these contacts can further be narrowed down by likely to engage via email. If I select that filter, the ones that are likely to engage are identified. And then I can select these decision makers to either push them to an external system or directly add them to a cadence. So this is one way of manually identifying intent and pushing them to external systems. We also have workflows. Workflow would automate the entire process. So let's say whenever a company is spiking on a particular intent topic, with the help of workflow, you will automatically be able to create them, right? And push them into an external system. without any manual work. So whenever someone is, let's say someone is looking at digital assessment and or cybersecurity as a topic, in that case, what would happen is we would be able to identify whenever someone is looking at this topic, cybersecurity, and having a signal score greater than, let's say, 80 to 95, and an audience strength above 3. And if I want, I can add more company filters, like they should have more than 100 employees, they should have more than 5 million in funding. Whenever these criteria are met, adding your Salesforce filters, HubSpot filters, then what I could do is choose to push those individuals into systems. And when I say systems, it would be identifying up to, let's say, 5 contacts from each company. That is making sure that it's filling my buying committee or the decision makers that I'm trying to reach out to. With the contact accuracy score, the most accurate contact information that we have, gather that information and then export it into any of these systems that you have. You can also notify them on Slack so that your sales reps are being notified on a Slack channel or personally. You can also assign them to a particular rep within Salesforce, update information, or the usual workflows that you would be running. In this manner, what you could do is you would get speed to lead. So immediately, with the help of real time, you can use streaming intent workflow. So if someone is spiking on a particular topic, your sales reps can easily be notified on Slack, and also those accounts can be added, or the decision makers can be added directly into a sales cadence. So these are some of the ways that you will be able to use intent. Apart from that, with the help of Copilot, we have something called as Account AI, where you can ask the Account AI based on the intent activities that take place. So if I want to run intent information, what I would generally be doing is I would be asking prompts like, based on the intent research for this company RelyQuest that is conducting, which part of marketing funnel would you assess RelyQuest and why? So based on the intensity of research that they do, Copilot would tell you how you should be assessing them, how fit they think it is. And you will be able to gain that insights from different signals that we have. We can also ask questions like, what are employees at RelyQuest actually researching about? So when I ask the prompt, what are employees at RelyQuest currently researching about? This would bring back the intent topics that they are potentially researching about, or they are actually researching about. And then based on this information, I will be able to create a sales play and then reach out to my teams. We also have intent clusters wherein you can create multiple intents, right? And when you group these intents as clusters, you can see where the overlapping of topics are taking place, so that we will be able to give you a score based on the consumption of intent topics. For example, if you have CRM, Salesforce, and HubSpot as 3 intent topics, and then you have a company that's consuming content on all 3 of them, and you have a company that's consuming content on just 2 of them. Based on that, we will be able to give you a score and let you know what are the accounts that you should prioritize and use these clusters accordingly. So we will be able to see for a period of 2 weeks or what has happened in the last 12 weeks to give you the intent trend, and accordingly, you will be able to access the companies and the decision makers and then choose whether to reach out to them or not. So these are some of the plays that we will be able to use with intent, what intent is, what streaming intent is, and what custom intent is, how intent can help you all increase or level up your sales. With the help of this information, I would also like to share a use case. Brandlive is a great example wherein they used custom intent and work to get 1 million above in revenue just in 6 months. These are some of the challenges that they faced. We have this listed up on our website, and we would definitely recommend you to check it out. Apart from that, we also have other examples such as SpeakUp. So at SpeakUp, what we have, they were able to increase their pipeline by 50% and increase their sales engagement rates by 25% with the help of intent. And with the help of streaming intent, they were given speed to lead, that is real-time intent. This is what they were able to achieve. That's all from my side, team. I hope the session was useful. Over to questions.
So we do have a question from Terry, and the question is, when you manually run a saved search intent workflow, will it export contacts who currently meet the criteria and are currently listed in the saved search report?
When you currently run a saved search, will it export the contacts that
Yeah.
are meeting the criteria? Yes, because you would be defining that saved search as a saved intent search workflow. So it would, yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can answer this particular question. I want to find the best way to search for, I'm not sure if this is relevant to this, but I want to find the best way to search for furniture manufacturers and retail stores that might be or looking for white glove services. Is that possible?
So if they're looking for white glove services, is it?
Yeah.
So in that case, you can have that services, white glove services as an intent topic, and then use the NIC codes or the SIC codes or the NAICS codes to differentiate the industries, and then do a search so that you'll get better refined results. So with the help of an industry filter and having a custom intent topic, you would be able to identify all those who are actually researching about those services because they are actually looking for it. They would be researching about it on the internet.
We have a question from James, and we'll just answer this live. What is a typical turnaround time for evaluation of custom intent topics?
Great question. So once you give us the topic, let's say you give it on day one, we would have a week time. We would require a week's time to run that custom intent viability test. And once we get the report, we would schedule a call. Let's say anything within 10 days maximum. I'm keeping a buffer.
Are custom intent topics an upgrade from the general intent feature?
Yes, it also depends on plan. If you have an AE or an account manager, we would definitely advise you to reach out to them so that they can best accommodate the package for you.
And just note everyone that you will be emailed all of the recording and the presentation as well. So yes, that's the answer for everybody asking me that. Are there any other questions? I think I answered all of them. Doesn't look like there's a lot more questions. So if you have additional questions, feel free to go to the modern go-to-market community. I know I've been pushing that a lot, but it's somewhat new. So that's why we're trying to push that. We do have another question that I did miss. Can you share the link to the customer use case? Is that in your presentation, Danny?
Brand lives use case. Yeah, I could share
Okay.
it in our Slack channel.
Yeah, great. All right, since that's all the questions, please come next week. We do have another webinar coming up. So that's going to be on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, or wherever you're at. I did push that. I'll push that in the link to the email as well. Please join us on the modern community or go-to-market community. We'd love to see you there, ask questions, connect to others, and things like that. So for now, Danny, thank you so much for some great content, and thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.